Hello everyone, my name is Joel Leon and this is going to be my video for my first position statement for Casey Aiken's white collar crimes. I want to apologize for not having a camera, but I did want to kind of touch on a couple of things that I thought were pretty interesting about these chapters that we read over the last week or two. Like I'm sure many of you all know, white collar crime is kind of that crime that often goes unnoticed and kind of unwritten, but then once it kind of hits the fan, usually the perpetrators will usually catch a really low level punishment, and then often don't really face the time for the amount of crime that they commit. Like the book states, this is not really any type of new phenomenon. It's been going on for a very long time. But I like how the book highlights a lot of the major ones like that we see in our normal day-to-day society. I also want to bring up the fact that a lot of the white collar crimes that have been committed in the past haven't been as well documented as the ones that we have currently, which is why most of the examples in the book are a lot more recent and within the last 100 years or so. Main goal for this position statement was to really bring up one of my favorite and kind of understated white collar crimes, and that's the environmental crime. On page 130 of the book, there's a quote by Ralph Nader that says, "The harm done to human health and safety by business crime should dispel the distinguishing characteristic of white collar crime as being the absence of physical threat." The book tries to highlight the fact that these environmental crimes look like some of the most innocent ones, but usually will have the largest, most significant impact. And what's kind of consistent with most of these crimes is the fact that they'll normally be penalized with a very large monetary penalty, but will never actually face jail time, even if the crimes that they chose to ignore for the sake of their company and their making business uh, could have killed, 700, people or so, just because they've polluted the entire ocean. The book brings up a few very interesting studies, and one of the first ones that it talks about is the Love Canal. Now, the Love Canal was a chemical corporation that chose to burn 20 million pounds of chemical waste in waterways near Niagara Falls. First off, knowing what we know now, burning chemical waste is never the smartest option. And two, burn that waste over water is clearly something that you shouldn't do. Knowing this, the Hooker Company sold this land after they had covered it up to a school board and were allowed to build and that school board then built a school on top of this property. Now, the crazy part about this is this snow sat on top of this land that had been polluted by all these chemicals filled with chemicals like benzene, which is noted as one of the most toxic carcinogens known to man, had melted into the water and started to get into the groundwater of the entire neighboring community. Studies produced from this case showed that more than 900 children were affected by seizures, incontinence, skin rashes, irritations, and all. Now, knowing all of this, at the end of the whole thing, Hooker only was forced to pay 129 million just for the cleanup. I think what causes me the most sleepless nights is the fact that there were 900 children and countless others affected by this, but it really only comes down to a monetary value. At what point do you say that this is a crime that requires jail time, or this is a crime that requires more attention than what we're giving it by just sticking on a price tag and saying that it's going to be okay? Now, the book goes on to mention 5 or 6 more examples where the outcome is really similar. Hundreds of people are affected. The company is charged a small price tag in comparison to what the company has made off of the misfortune of others, and we slap them on the wrist and move on with the rest of the day. This is something that I feel like will continue to happen, only because money does so much for the environment. The people who control the punishments for these things are the same people who have special interests in these corporations that cause the damages that we see from this. Big money like BP, with the big oil spill, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, that was a huge thing in the Gulf of Mexico. That one's a little bit closer to home because I'm from that area and I know people who were working in that company at the time of all that happening. And BP really got a slap on the wrist, and they ruined a large part of what is a part of that community and that revenue cycle for that area. Oil not only affects the fishing market, the housing market. People can't move out there if there's oil. Um, who gets punished and who takes the fall for huge crimes like this? And is it okay to just say that we're going to charge somebody a certain amount of money and then all is well with the world? I don't want to stretch this out too much longer, but I do hope that you were able to, maybe relate to me and some of my opinions on it, or what did you feel? Leave a comment if you think I missed out on anything, or if you agree with me. I really hope you guys can get something out of this video, and really excited for the rest of this class. Thanks for listening.